Hi, my name is Frank. I have taken a long time trying to figure out what happened in the Floyd issue, and I have tried to run away. I have two sons. I've tried to run away from explaining to them what happened. My son kept asking me, can I see that video? Can I see that video? And I knew if I give it to him, I have to explain what happened. And I spent an hour and I don't know what I said because it didn't really make sense even to me, what I explained to my son. So, it's a basic rule to the police that you shouldn't do that. Humanity, we are all the human race. We are all one. You can't do that. You can't snap away somebody's life like that. I've watched so many movies, action movies, and I love action movies. But I've never seen in real life somebody's life snatched away. I saw a murder happen right on my eyes. And I didn't want my son to see that, but he had to. He was helpless under his knee. He called, everybody called, and he called his mom. And he couldn't move. Over 9 minutes doing that. And the paramedic comes in at the fifth minute. He checks the pulse and says there's no pulse. In our training, we know that when somebody checks your pulse is not there, the first thing to do is check airway. Start compressions. Basic rule of medicine. Just check the airway, open the airway, start CPR. He didn't do that. He went to his ambulance and got whatever he needed and came back. Still, he didn't say take off the knee. The knee was still there. And then he comes back and says, now you can. The 9th minute, take it. There's no pulse. There's no compressions done. Nothing. After the first test, he just put him in. What can you explain to that? What explanation to that? We are all human race, we are all human beings. What can you say to make that better or feel okay? Or feel that there was a mistake or underlying, whatever they say. Man, it was underlying diseases that were there. He had coronavirus, he had this and that. I've seen it all. He didn't have a good lifestyle, that's okay, but you can't take somebody's life like that. You're not God. And that's why I want to address this video as a way of me releasing what I feel in my heart. So for my son, and for all black men out there, and for all those white men that are good in their hearts, and every human being for the human race, this is my thoughts. So I'm really filled with rage. I'm filled with pain. I feel desperate. I'm filled with desperation about the whole incident. It hasn't made sense to me at all. Because it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. And the realization that many people go through the same thing. Many people are going through that every day, every night, every day. And as a black man here, I know maybe I'll be profiled like that the next time I drive out there. And I don't know what I feel. I don't know how to express what I feel. I don't excuse those who are looting and spoiling stuff and throwing stones. But I see people express anger in very different ways. some people break stuff when they feel anger. They throw away these plates and spoons and hit walls. When they're mad, it's a feeling. You can't control a feeling. As much as I'm saying I don't excuse it, I also want to understand how they felt when they were doing that the first few days when there was all chaos. And I want to be very clear. I live in the States and I live with so many people, white friends, black friends who are very kind and nice, of all colors. We work with all of them. Most of them are nice, most of them are kind and loving, and we talk and share. And in whatever I'm going to share today, I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but I wanted to present what is in my heart. And again, I can't control how I feel, and so I'm going to present how I feel. I've seen great leaders speak about this same issue, and I don't want to get into the politics. I just want to state the facts as they are, well, according to me. They are trying to channel this anger that the young people feel of all races and colors on how it can be productive. We know that walks have been effective. We know that in the past they have demonstrated, and demonstrations have worked. As long as they are peaceful, you will be heard. And so the question was, how do we channel this to be productive? But we have to trace back to the history and think through it. How fruitful has they been? So as a black man, I'll confess that I don't understand that much how things are or how our friends are going through. If you got into a plane and came here willingly and fought to come in the embassy, you're different. You don't feel what they feel. You may be in the streets shouting and saying we need justice for him. But for them, it's not justice for one person. As long as I agree, he deserves justice. But you don't know what they have gone through. That's why they bring up all these names of people that have gone through the same thing. It's many people that have been caught with cameras, red-handed, doing it, but nothing has happened. So as much as you claim that you know what they go through, you don't. You may be fighting for Floyd, but it's an underlying problem. And that's what I wanted to share this evening with you, of what I feel or think may be true. I usually go to the extreme and I lay down the truth, and so the question is, are you ready for the truth? Because this is the truth. And this is the truth as it is. In the 14th century, if you look through your history, you realize that he never existed. We know about the Middle East that went to Africa and took Africans as slaves. And they took them to build all the big monuments, you know, the 7 wonders of the world. We build all those. So again, what is wrong with Africans that we have to be slaves all through our lives? Why? Let's go back still to the Bible. For those that know the Bible, Genesis starts with a generation of Israelites living in Egypt, and there they are slaves for 400 years. The Africans have been in America for 400 years as slaves. And towards the end, God sends Moses to go get them. And the word says that, let my people go. And they had to leave. Let's go back to one more story about Daniel in the Bible. Daniel, they were taken to captive by Nebuchadnezzar king. And he took all the young people to his place. He gave them different names. He changed their culture. He gave them everything new. And they were supposed to be new people. And they were very smart in the new land. But when time came, God says it's time to go back. Nehemiah went to the king and said, I want to go back and rebuild Jerusalem. Maybe God's idea is that they have to go back to their land and rebuild their land. Maybe the idea is they need to go back to where they belong. A little bit forward. When the white man, the missionary, came to Africa, he came with the Bible and he told the Africans, there's a God in heaven, so stop worshiping the one you worship. There's a God in heaven, and this God loves you very much, and He's coming to take you back home. So don't worry about these things of life, okay? They're not that important. You get pack, get ready and fly over. And you'll fly away to heaven and live there eternally, where there's no pain, there's no sickness, there's no troubles. All happy, everybody equal. And from that moment, the African man took the Bible and has been reading it. And all he's been waiting for is Jesus to come back home and take us home. And I believe that that is very true, that Jesus is coming soon and is going to take us home. And that in heaven, all these things will never be there. But when the white man gave it to us, he changed some stuff, of course we know that. He added some stuff, of course, yes, we know that. But he gave it to the African man. And in turn, he took young people as slaves, brought them here to work as slaves in their vineyards, to work as slaves in the plantains. And they've worked for 400 years still under the system that keeps them down. African is having the Bible and saying the Bible is true, which of course is true. It's coming, taking me home. They go, they pick all the gold, they bring it here. And they go, they take all the minerals, they bring it here. All the farm produce, they bring it. Their stores are full of food, their fridge is full of food that is even thrown away. Things are cheaper here than even where they are being produced. Where people overwork together. Our leaders are full of taxes. They are full of... The children of Israel, when it was time to go, God says, let my people go. And they had to go home. No matter what Pharaoh did, they had to go home. In the time of Daniel, even if the names were changed, even if they were given different food, even if they were taught different cultures, new culture, it was time to go. Nehemiah presented himself to the king and said, it's time for me to go home and rebuild Jerusalem. Give me all this. I want safety. I want this and that to go back home and rebuild Jerusalem. So I want to address my white brothers who think that the black race should not exist, or who think they can't think well, or who think they're just monkeys, or who think they don't deserve to be alive. So I want to address you in particular. You can't stop what God has put in. You can't stop God's plan. You can't. You can try. For 400 years you've tried. For 400 years people have suffered. Working in your plantains, working on your land. And they'll build the United States to a superpower by them working day in, day out, night and day, no sleeping. And at this moment as we speak, they don't have much. Their neighborhoods are the poorest. They are always high in crimes. Their children are not having the best schools. So what has gone on is the system has worked in a way to keep them down. And that's why I said if you came from Africa by plane, you wouldn't understand what they are going through. I don't. But they have gone through a life whereby they have suffered. When they're building all these things, they don't have any in their homes. And so they've gone through and they'll go around every weekend entertaining them as football players, as basketball players, as musicians. They'll go around do all these things, entertaining them as they are happy and laughing and drinking. Enjoy. Monday through Friday is busy for them to work hard for a living. And then they claim it's a land of the free. How is it free? Free to who? Your freedom of speech. Who's speaking? The strong only speak. They control the media. They control what we hear and what we do. So think about it. The blacks have been slaves for 400 years. Directly and indirectly. The system has kept them down there. But they have always kept on being there. They never retaliate. They never fight back. They did something in the Middle East. They had to come here. That's how 9/11 war came about. Just for something they did in the Middle East. But for the black Americans, slaves all through. Nothing. They never retaliate. They never fight back. They just do peaceful demonstrations. Whenever a leader shows up, he's being shot, he's being killed. I want to wrap up by saying one real quick thing. My problem is Africans that live in Africa. What have you done when you know your brothers are here? Look at our leaders in Africa. They're not doing anything that much. They haven't even thought of making a safe landing for them if anything happens, that they can come back home. No leader has even invited and said, come back home. No leader is trying to build their country. Instead, they're in corruption. Instead, they are getting all this support from the Western, and they're being controlled. They have sold our land in Africa. They have sold the railways. They have sold the ports. They have sold what's important. In every country in Africa, they owe trillions and trillions of money to the West and to the East. And so we are held by the neck. We can't speak. So we are not only slaves here. We are slaves back home in Africa. Because we can't do anything. When it comes to democracy, we can't have a fair democracy. They choose leaders for us. If a leader in Africa says why they turn against him, and he can't be that. So they choose everything for us. They choose your leaders. You're forced to sell your land. You're forced to sell your products cheaply. You don't have bargaining power. That's why they divided you into very small groups. Very small groups called Kenya, another group called Uganda, another group called Nigeria. And this group can't stand and sell their oil as a superpower. So I still admit that you've come this far by the grace of God. There's a lot that lays ahead. There's no hope here. There's no hope in Africa. Because Africans, our leaders are just so corrupt. Corrupt in, corrupt out. A new leader comes in and promises, and they never fulfill what they promise. They have never thought that let's try and make a landing zone for our brothers come. You can come back. We'll give you land. We'll enable you start a business. So that they come back home as you are home and enjoy their freedom. Because this is the fact. During Moses' time, God says, let my people go. They had to go back home. During Daniel's time, Nehemiah said, I'm going back to rebuild Jerusalem. So the goal has to be, and I think that is God's plan. The Jews right now are doing the same thing. The Jews are being asked to go back to Jerusalem, to Israel, and they are doing that. They are reconnecting back to their roots. Why can't our Africans reconnect to their roots? Why have we not thought about that to make a safe landing zone? So going to the street and shouting, give Floyd justice, has not solved an issue that has been underlying for 400 and plus years. So wherever you are, you're a leader of the African nation, whatever nation you are. What are you doing? What are you doing to the future? We have so many young people in Africa. Do they have jobs? Or you're giving these jobs to the Western. They come and build our railways. They come and be engineers. They come and do that. Many people are leaving Africa to outside countries. I'm one of them. Why? Because they are looking for greener pastures, a place to live, safe place, good health care, of which our leaders promise every 5 years, every 4 years they will do, and they never do it. So, are you making it easier, even easier for us? Are you making it easier for us to come home? No, you're not. That's why when Floyd died, no African leader said anything. Some countries went to the streets. I know Kenya did. And thank you for that. But that has not solved the problem. So these great leaders, when they were calling, they're saying, let's channel this energy in the right way. These are things we should be thinking about. It's a hard, we have to think hard on how to get over this. You can stay in and fight, but we need to have another option. And for me, the option is, and you know, let me, real quick, these other young people, young leaders that come from Africa, they come out here, they are still the same. It's a systemic problem in the African culture, in our mindset, that even our African leaders still out, even outside the country, they're still corrupt. They're still not fair. They still treat their own people in the wrong way. Some of the leaders that are Africans, they treat me worse than even a brother, a white brother. So we have to talk about these things. We are rotten inside. It's in the mindset. And if our mind can be changed, if our mind can be transformed, we can be able to save the situation. We can be able to rebuild Africa. We have all these things. We have every mineral that you can think about. We have a very productive land that we can use so that we make a landing zone for the Africans that are going through a hard time until now, that they can come back home and have a good place to stay. So, it starts from you, wherever you are, in the leadership that you are. Are you a good leader? Is your mind changed that you are a leader of the future? Or you're not? Many of you are not. You made it hard for us. You've made it hard for the Africans. You've made it hard for everybody to live just because you want more in your pocket. And when you die, you never go with them again. You leave them here. So it's a helpless situation. Then these people that think about the future, about our children, about how I'll tell my 2 sons when they get out there and drive, when they go out, what can I tell them? That you're safe, that you'll be back home well, that you'll get a job that anybody can get, that your education can help you, that you are free to go anywhere in the world and rebuild and be profitable to the generations. If Jesus hasn't come, my wish is that everybody could think, if you are African, it's all called, that's okay, but I want to focus on my brothers, African. It's a call to you. You're in a leadership position. Think about it. Even in a church leadership position, how are you leading the people? Are you a fair leader? Are you focusing the future? Are you building the future for your children and children? Or you're focusing on yourself and in your life and what you can gain? And always the question is, how am I benefiting from this? And that will translate to our leaders back home in Africa, so that we are able to go invest, knowing that our money is safe, knowing that whatever you invest, you are able to change a village, to change a society. So it's always, I want us to think seriously on this issue. So, brothers, leaders in Africa, please stop selling our land. Stop giving these jobs to the people from the west and the east. Stop selling those minerals cheaply. Stop allowing them to come live and own those things. Because here we are slaves here. We are not home. We are not home. And so make a home. Guard everything that you have the best you can for this generation and the generation to come. Let my children know that they can come back home and invest. Let every child know that, an African child knowing that they are safe, they have a future for them. Their safety is promised. And they are free to live like any other human beings on earth. Otherwise, every year, every decade, you'll be on the streets trying to claim, give us justice. Who should own your justice? Give us freedom. Why should we ask for freedom from people to give us freedom? We can have the freedom by ourselves. So, again, this is a way of me releasing what I'm feeling right now. And it's not fun, it's not good. The future is so dark. As much as people that I love, like President Obama says, that I'm very hopeful for the future. To seeing all those young people in the streets. Some of them standing and saying, you know, most of you are going to lose life through this, but we'll change the future. Who in Africa can say that? That we are going to lay our life down so that we make a landing spot for the future children to be safe. Otherwise, we're going to say as they did, we'll just have the Bible with us and hope for eternity to come, and hope that Jesus one day will come and take us home. While they enjoy here, while here in the West the churches are being closed, while in the West they don't even go to church, while the man in the office says really bad things, but people of the church, they call themselves evangelical, support him, say he's okay, we'll give him our vote again because we love him very much. Is even mad to people that are handicapped, but they still love him, and they claim they know the Bible and they love the Bible. But in Africa, we're carrying the Bible. The Bible is our shield, is our everything. And they come and say, this is the leader we want, and we own this pot, and we own this and that, and we give it, and we go back in our houses. Let's pray and wait for Jesus to come, because God is coming soon. Well, that is true, that He's coming soon, and we hope that He comes soon. But still we're on this earth to live. So think about it as an individual. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And this is those that follow me, those that know me, those that I have known and loved. I want to sincerely ask you, what have you done as an individual to change the situation as it is, because it's not good. I'll be praying for you. I wish you all the best. It's time to think about it. Change the way you think as an individual. Look at those who your subjects, even if you're just a man in your house. How do you guide your children every day? What do you teach them? Sacrifice for them. Sacrifice for them every day. Give them the best you can, and improve your life every day, so that we don't pass this on to our children. I wish you well. If I stepped on anybody's toes, I'm sorry. I pray that God will bless you. That yes, God is there. Yes, heaven is there. But we live on this earth. Freedom has to be served, yes. But it starts with you. It starts with me. Stand in the street. Go back home. Study hard. Make yourself valuable. Go back to your house. Find a job. Start working. Make yourself valuable. Go back to your home and ask yourself, how am I treating my subjects? Am I kind? Am I fair? Am I benefiting from other people? As a leader, ask yourself, am I creating the future for our children? And that's the best we can do. Starts from you and me.